Chris, Robert, Laura, Tom, Travis, and others that are patiently holding. And I love an article like this because it really just illustrates everything I'm talking about. And we're going to give you the rest of the story on it. What's in this article is not just the news that the internet's being handed over to someone. They say they don't know who. It's that you could write an article like this where the Washington Post says we don't know who's getting control of the internet. That's like saying we're going to have World War III, and it's going to happen in 10 minutes, but we don't know who we're having it with. We're going to have a Super Bowl tomorrow, but we don't know who the Super Bowl players are. We don't know who the teams are. I don't know if it's the Washington Post writer, Craig Timberg, is this stupid? Or whether they think you're that stupid. Actually, I know he's not stupid. They don't want to tell you. That's how stupid they think you are. It's on record that under international treaties in the last 20 years, they've already signed over most of the internet. That's why hidden in the headline is the answer. And by the way, this is not my opinion. I mean, I'm going to go over some evidence of this in a moment. They know full well it's the UN getting control. And by UN, the private interests that sit on those boards. And it's the UN that wants CISPA and SOPA style legislation to censor free speech. So don't forget that. And that's why Congress is getting behind shining over the internet that DARPA created, that Americans paid for, the core technology. And by the way, will you guys queue up the John D. Rockefeller? We'd be better without the internet because he's the guy involved in all this. Thank you. U.S. to relinquish remaining control over the internet. That's the headline. U.S. officials announced plans Friday to relinquish federal government control over the administration of the internet, a move that pleased international critics but alarmed some business leaders and others who rely on smooth functioning of the web. That's code for we don't want an end to net neutrality. We don't want to be under EU law censoring free speech. We don't want to be under an internet tax. And by the way, that's what's in there, and that's what's actually in other news publications, mainline news. That's what Google is saying. I'm not normally saying Google's good guys, but if they even understand their interest is threatened, even though they're a large part of the New World Order system, this is being transferred basically to the EU that runs the UN. Now, we're going to get to Senator Rockefeller here in a moment, but listen to this. Pressure to let go of the final vestiges, see, it's already been done, of U.S. authority over the system of web addresses and domain names that organize the internet has been building for more than a decade and was supercharged by the backlash last year to revelations about national security agency surveillance. See how all the other governments do it, all the big corporations do it. It's all about how America's doing it. We've got to turn the web over to the UN. They'll fix it. See how they do this? Because it's globalist above America playing us off against others. The change would end the long-running contract between the Commerce Department and the Internet Corporation for assigned names and numbers, ICANN, a California-based nonprofit group that the contract is set to expire next year, but could be extended if the transition plan is not complete. Now, I've been covering this for 15 years, really, since I learned a little bit more about it. The UN is constantly saying they want to remove most people's domains and tax the other domains and end free speech. And you can look that up. I mean, just type in UN wants to tax domains or UN wants to take domains. And that's why they've got all the names, biz and gov and org, and they're going to come in and say, you can't do this on that, you can't do that. I mean, it's all happening. It's all being announced. Now, let's continue. In a statement, Senate Commerce Chairman John D. Rockefeller called the move consistent with other efforts the U.S. and other allies are making to promote free and open internet and to preserve and advance the current multi-stakeholder model of global internet governance. You hear that? Global internet governance. And by the way, there's a big club, to quote George Carlin, and you ain't in it because the world's owners want you dumb. That's why education will never get better. It'll get worse because it's designed to dumb you down. Because the country's owners want you stupid. Thank you, George Carlin. Rest in peace. 9/11 truther. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, he says this is going to protect the free and open internet. He's been promoting stuff that would end freedom of the web as we know it. CISPA, SOPA, the UN treaties. Let's play that clip just so I'm not just claiming he said we'd be better off without internet. Here it is.
President Obama's Director of National Intelligence, Admiral Blair, who I greatly respect, have labeled cybersecurity perpetrated through the internet as the #1 national hazard of attack on the homeland in West Virginia, in West Virginia,
launch your own
or
attacks.
anywhere else. So, I mean, it really almost makes you ask the question, would it have been better if we'd never invented the internet and had to use paper and pencil or whatever? And that's a stupid thing to say, but it has genuine consequence.
All right, get him
because
off.
It's on the internet that these acts of...
Okay, so there you go. Oh, these acts are so bad, let us run everything. Turns out most of the time it's the globalists doing it all. So that's what's going on. Now, listen, here's the key part of the article. See, this is why I don't cover articles a lot. I got 300 on my desk. This is one. To decipher this crud. Now let's go to the next one. But former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, I cannot believe I'm agreeing with Newt Gingrich, Republican Georgia tweeted, "What is the global internet community that Obama wants to turn the internet over to? The risk of foreign dictatorships defining the internet. This risked foreign dictatorships defining the internet." Well, no, Newty. It's not that we're going to have, you know, Zimbabwe or whatever voting on the thing. It's the private stakeholders that already under the treaties will control it through the World Trade Organization and others and fast track. That's the issue here. And we know because it got leaked by hackers and they confirmed it's real, only one of the 30 pieces dealing with the Trans-Pacific Partnership. We know what's in it, and it makes CISPA and SOPA look tame. It's a pay-for-play internet with about 3,000 big sites and universities and government and corporations, and then you've got to have a subdomain with them, and then they just phase out the old internet. It's like turning a road into a toll road and then not letting you have access to it. And here it is out of the New American, Joe Wolverton, an excellent article. SOPA, dead in Congress, alive in Trans-Pacific Partnership. And this thing, they call it Trans-Pacific. It's for the whole world, folks. It comes in with the governance over the internet. And that's just one piece of 30 parts that I wish the hackers would release the whole thing. But see, Google has access to this, and we know they're probably the hackers. There's some fights in the New World Order and some people that don't want this to go through right now. They want the web to be free a little bit longer while they dominate it. And so they want it known what's going on so it can be shot down.